Namaste. My name is Kamlesh Kapoor, and we are going to do lesson 2. This is Hindu Dharma Parent Teacher Training Conference course, and we did one session. This is the second session for training teachers. And today we are going to do important concepts, beliefs, and traditions, and how the teacher is going to approach the difficult concepts at a very simple level, so that you are able to convince them about the belief system, the validity of the belief system, and the rational, the scientific explanation. Actually, all these concepts, if they are not scientifically explained or make sense to the students, then you are not able to explain anything or teach anything. So learning is a process which begins with small little items, and then they are brought into a whole scenario. So in this particular session, we are going to start with an overview, and let us see what we are going to understand. So the teacher has to make a list of concepts, what they are going to teach in a certain session or in a certain lesson. And you have to be very clear in your mind all the questions that the student can ask, or you have clarity. So then create an overview first, that this is what Hindu Dharma is, and then develop lesson on each of the concepts. So once we start an overview, it becomes very easy that today in this class we are going to do this, tomorrow in this class we are going to do this. So each follows. This is called a sequential lesson modules. Sequential means that you do not start with the complex issue or a story. You first start with the basic or overview. So when you are teaching mathematics, you start from the basic. Number system, multiplication, and then go on to, you don't start with calculus and philosophy. So it is exactly the same subject, same method of teaching, and same strategy of teaching. So now let's see. This is the overview. Now this should be your primary kind of poster. So copy this down, make a printout, make a poster out of that, and then make sure that as many lessons it takes to explain each one of them, you go slow according to the pace of your students. So this is how we proceed. Now, for example, the common questions kids ask is, who made us? Who created this universe? Who created the creator itself? So these are some of those mind-boggling kind of things, but they are curious. In fact, everybody in the world is talking about religion and God. What exactly are these? We are going to talk about that. Hindu Dharma is not a religion. Hindu word itself is a geographic entity. The entire Indian subcontinent was called Hindustan. So whoever lived there, whichever was their faith tradition, they believed, they don't believe, whatever way it was called Hindustan. So it's a geographic entity. And within that, there were so many different type of traditions, converging, diverging according to the local conditions. So then the next thing was that the cultural issues. So emerging from dharma is the cultural ethos, how we shape our personality, how we interact with society. And then we are also understanding how we relate to the universe and what is the reality of the cosmic flow. How do all these things happen and knit together, and how do we fit in? How does this planet fit in? So all these things are creation, cycles of creation. This is Sanatana Dharma. Sanatan means that 50,000 years back, creation was following a similar pattern. Prakriti, nature was the same, with changes, of course, transformation, mutation, metamorphosis, all of these things. So that is Sanatana Dharma. And then the science. And then we also talk about the self. All right. So these are the key components on the on the left side of the chart, and that is Sanatana Dharma. Now the governing principle, how these four things are tied together, that governing principle is how we interact. And the righteous interaction or connection with all of these four things, three things actually, the self with Prakriti, creation, the society, the creator, how we relate to them, that righteous way of doing it is called dharma. And if it is not righteous, then obviously it is disastrous. It is destructive. So we want to align with this to build a positive connection with all these realities so that we are at peace and there is no violation of the natural law. So dharma is, in Sanskrit it says, dhare iti dharma. Dharma is that which sustains the universe. So that conduct, that kind of righteous conduct. Now we go to some other aspects. So then in Sanatana Dharma, we are going to talk about how to teach the belief system, key components like, major beliefs. And then how do they practice Hindu practices, and what are the aspects of Sanatana Dharma? What exactly are we trying to do? Then what are the motivational forces, how to teach them? And then, how do you find that the person is acting in a righteous way? What are the various signs of recognizing righteous conduct? And of course, there is sadhana. That sadhana comes as the end part of following dharma. So that is creating a balance within the body through yoga and other kind of meditation. Now, on the other side, right side, is Vishesha Dharma. Vishesha means specific to circumstances, which is relative to. I mean, they talk about relativity. Now understand that this is nothing but relating to time and place. So, for example, the mother's dharma is to protect the children, nourish them, nurture them, and raise them. Pitru dharma is to provide for the children, give them a proper environment, provide for them, guide them, and educate them, teach them by example. Now, Sanatana Dharma says that you will not tell a lie. Okay? You will always speak the truth. Now let us see Matra Dharma. How it changes according to the circumstances and time and space. At a certain time, at a certain place, you may not tell the truth. If someone comes to harm your child at your door and demands where is the child, and you will tell a lie. You will not disclose where the child is because your specific dharma at this time and at this moment and place is to protect the child. So that is an example to show that Vishesh Dharma is relative and bound by time, space, and circumstances. It is called in Sanskrit Desh, place, Kal, time, Nimit, bound by that. So in that comes your duties and the righteous attitude and actions in a certain occupation. As a king, what you should do, Sanatana Dharma says, do not kill. No, non-violence is preferable. But if an enemy attacks, then non-violence goes to the wind. Because your first duty as a king is to protect your borders and create law and order in the country. If you cannot do that, then you have failed as a king. So Rajya Dharma is that specific dharma where non-violence does not apply. That doesn't mean you go on a spree of killing or be a despot. It only means that as a king, what is your primary duty and how it is relative to the time and place. So we can say about social practices and Rajya Dharma, all of them, they come under the Vishesha Dharma. But if we confuse the two, then what happens? We mix up the social structures and we mix up all other random practices which are so varied and complex according to a certain region or according to someone's history. You confuse the two and you end up not understanding or separating what is the social realities and how they transform, and what is Nadam Dharma, how it affects the culture and the customs. So you have to see in a proper perspective. Never mix up these two things. On the right side, it is Dharma as a way of life in a particular time and in a particular space, place. Sanatana Dharma is valid for all times to come. It was valid 50,000 years back. It will be valid from now onwards to the end of time. Now, I have already explained what is on the right side. Now, it will take the 5 concepts, beliefs. It will take 2-3 lessons. And of course, sadhana you are going to make. And duties and responsibilities, you can give examples. And just as I have given examples. But this is, I am trying to ingrain what the teacher should know. Now we are talking about not the strategy of teaching, of course, we will talk about that. But right now we are talking about the content, how to present the content of a subject and how to create that content in a certain format and in certain lesson modules. Let us see about Dharma now. How are you going to teach? Now, every child hears the word God and is curious. He, she, what? As adults, they wonder, why are we fighting on the name of God? So who is our creator? Do we have various names? Does it matter what we call? Hindus call this. Actually, they don't have a name per se, but what they are doing is they are describing the three components. Yes, there is a divine entity, creator. Sat means it is true, it verily exists. Chit is it has awareness, and Anand is that it gives us happiness. And when we pray, we say Om Tat Sat Parmeshwara, that you supreme divine being, you verily exist, and you are giver of Anand, Satchidanand. Now that their curiosity is aroused, right? You have talked about this and that, and the whole world scenario, obsession of people. Who is God? What is God? Now we are talking about other details. You see, there are natural forces, divine entity nobody has seen, nobody can see. And if at any point of time they see, they may not be able to come back. They have never come back to tell us. So natural forces like the cloud system, like the wind, the space, the air, the fire, the earth itself, all of these are in a constant kind of change, turmoil, toward, and they are awesome. They are fierce and they are beautiful. So, and they give us life. So anything that gives us something, that is called Devata or Deva, which means the one who gives to man. The fire gives, the air gives, the water gives, Mother Earth gives. So we all consider these devas, and Earth itself is called Devi. So learned man who imparts the knowledge, teacher, he is also Deva because he is giver of your giving guidance and giving you knowledge, enlightenment. The sun, the moon, the sky, the adityas, the variations in the rotation of the revolution of the earth, and the shining bodies in the sky, all of these are devas. They give us in some or other way. So now we are trying to distinguish between the specific energies which gives us this. Now we are trying to see who is the controller or who is complete. Everything emanates from that divine energy or divine consciousness, and that we call Brahma. You may call anything. People call it Ilahi, which is literally means divine. People call it Rab, which literally means that which is there from the all-pervasive entity, which is from the light to the depth of the water. So these are some of the names which almost correspond to the word Brahma. So if Brahma is complete, leaves out nothing, then we cannot call Brahma as God and Deva also as God. That will be contradiction. One part of something like air is Deva, and if you translate Deva as God, then you are confusing Brahma, which is Purna. It contains all the energies. So you cannot give the same name to Devas and Devis and Brahma. So the very first thing that today I am enforcing is that Deva simply means some divine specific energy, specific. And Brahma is complete, infinite, creator of all those energies. We are not going to use from now onwards in your classrooms the word God, goddesses, and stuff like that. The Sanskrit word. I mean, imagine in a temple. Last week I was there and I'm amazed what was going on. The priest is doing the prayers and he's using the word Mahadeva, Ganesh Deva, Deva, Surya Deva. He's using the word Devasya, Deva. And the person who was translating in English, she's using the word our gods and our goddesses, as if we have a complete right to the sun and the moon and everything, and nobody else can claim them as their devas. It is one thing that the rest of the humanity does not recognize them as givers and consider that they are master of the nature, whereas actually they are not. They are subject to the changes of the nature. So make sure that you never ever use the word God or goddesses. You use the word Brahma for the creator, all pervasive creator, which is infinite. So let us leave it at that. And then you talk about the specific devas. When we worship to those specific devas, we are actually worshipping nature and reality around us. So Surya Deva, moon, everything. Now, try to now distinguish between, point out that something which is complete and something which is this part, can the part be equal to the whole? No. One part cannot be equal to the whole. For an older person who understands the concept of finite and infinite, they can be exposed to difficult words, that the specific energies are finite. They are called devas and devis. And then the students are encouraged to recognize specific energies. Mother is deva, you as a teacher is deva, this grass is deva, it feeds the cattle. For children's imagination, if you excite them, make them imagine, they will go to the end of the world and call everything as deva. At least they'll try to relate to it. Now, can any one energy by itself create the universe and many universes? Absolutely not. If there is only land mass, like on the planet Jupiter, so they have what we call Prithvi, the land mass, but there is no life. Why? Because the air is poisonous, gaseous, and there is probably no water. At least nobody has detected it. And probably the gravity is different. Whole lot of elements are different. So some devas, they do not exist. Or some devas, like Mercury, is so close to the mass is so close to the sun that everything will burn. The heat is so much. So the point is to take one example after another example to instill the point that one energy alone cannot create life. Only totality, Purna, will be able to create life. And the earth is a lucky planet. Now, we introduce the following prayer. You see, even though we offer prayer to different devas. We start the day with Gayatri Mantra, which is a prayer to the sun. We end with the day with the peace prayer, that let everywhere be peace. So we are offering prayer to Indra Deva for the rain. We offer fasting. We do fasting on full moon. We are offering prayer for creating a balance of water in our body. So all of these devas, when we pray to them, ultimately we are actually praying to the creator of all these energies. So at this point, the teachers are going to teach this prayer. Akash patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskara yeshavam pratigacchati. Akash is just as the rainwater that fall from the sky. Akash is sky. The sky, from the sky, the water falls. Ultimately, it goes to the ocean. The same way, the prayers that we offer to devas, eventually they go to Keshav. And sometimes we use the word Keshav for Brahm. Many people do that. So different words, different names can be given eventually to the same reality. But we don't say that ultimately it goes to God. That is a useless word in the context of Hindu Dharma, because Hindu Dharma has been explained correctly in Sanskrit language, and certain words do not correspond to any English translation, translated word. There is no equivalent to that. So please do not use the word God and goddesses. You will only be confusing kids. Then there is no difference between you explaining to the children as Hindus and outside people, Western countries, explaining Hinduism to Hindus. So it makes no sense. So the prayer says that though we pray to various devas, it goes to the ultimate reality. We see all finite energies in the infinite. And in the course itself, I have given some of the slides which explain, which actually reveal the artistic imagination, how they have shown the relation between devas and the infinite, how all the finite energies converge and emerge into the infinite. And those pictures are in the book as well as you can see them. So then you teach about the Prakriti, that it exists and it has a rhythm, a pattern. It's like dancing. And if the kids are a little higher level, then you say that nature exists, it has awareness. Otherwise, why would the branches of the tree wave to each other when there is a wind? That means there is an awareness and a connection, a physical movement, and a purpose also. So, asti bhati priyam rupam namam. There are 5 things that all these Prakriti exists. It has awareness. It's beautiful, but the shape to that or the name to that function we give. So even though there are 5 ways to see the nature, the first 3 are in the nature of things. I did not create Asti Bhati Priyam, nor did you. But name and function or form we give. So that comes at a point And this is an advanced lesson. I mean, I'm giving you a total scenario in the how to teach small children, and how when they are in an advanced stage, they have knowledge of physics, some idea about psychology and social structures. So you can really use complex words or specific words. And then you are going to teach, who am I? So start with, teaching is a real art. You are doing it scientifically, but it is an art form. So you say that, hey, we have been talking about all these things, big things. But who are we? The person who is talking about these things and pretends that he has the mastery of everything, does that person know his own self? And what are the components? And what prompts them to take a decision that this is the creator and this is me? So the self. Now Hindu Dharma alone, in all the traditions, belief traditions, is alone in its is in a category by itself, where it talks about the self and how to fulfill the self, find a meaning for the self, a purpose for the existence, and self-realization. So just praying as laid down by somebody is neither here nor there. So you have to understand our relation to the Creator. The little divine spark, which we call Chitta, that part is within me. That Chitta is the consciousness, collective consciousness, part of collective consciousness. So Aham Brahmasmi means I am part of Brahma. How? Because that enlightened spark, divine spark, is within me. When that divine spark goes away, we don't call it a person. We don't call that, say, X. Where is X? We say body. Why? Because the divine element has already parted. It has gone away. Now it's just the body, which is eventually going to decay in different forms. So, Aham Brahmasmi, I am part of Brahma. And we say, just as is my body, so is the entire universe. So, we say, Yatha Pinde, body, Tatha, same way, Brahmande. Brahmand is all the universes together. So, as is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. And having said that, we have touched on the one side of Sanatana Dharma, because this course is about Sanatana Dharma. And then when we come to the actions and the way of life, that we will call Karma Kand, how to teach the traditions and how to observe social norms and how to behave, how to shape your personality, that it is congenial and pleasant, how to be positive and not negative. All of that is going to come in further lessons, how to teach those traditions, customs, festivals, fast, in action, in practice. What do Hindus do? So having said that, we ended today. And again, the main part is we are going to use the Sanskrit words. Eventually, they will become part of the English dictionary, just as Swami and Guru and all those words have become part of English dictionary. If we hesitate to use the Sanskrit words, we are not telling Sanatana Dharma in the most meaningful way. Thank you very much. Next time, we will develop further strategies of teaching some more concepts. Namaste. See you next time.